Oh, yes.
Welcome back, everyone. On the heels of my Castle Grayskull review, I'm very excited to bring you a review for the new Masters of the Universe Origins PowerCon exclusive Mysteries of Grayskull. For anyone that doesn't know, this is a set of items that are meant to be kind of like an expansion of the retail Castle Grayskull set. And it includes a Spirit of Grayskull, which is that like smoky skull thing you see coming out of the top sometimes, a Guardian Robot that patrols the halls of Grayskull, and then the Orlax of Primaria, which is that purple tentacle monster thing you see come through the grate sometimes, and it also played a fairly prominent role in the new Revelation cartoon. Now, to me, of all the PowerCon releases for 2021, this was the most exciting. I thought the idea of just having like an expansion pack for Castle Grayskull was really cool. So I was most eager to pick this up more than any of the other stuff. Of course, with my luck, that meant it was going to be one of the last items to actually ship out because they didn't all release at the same time. But we finally have it in hand, so I'm very excited to open it up and show it to you guys. That being said, if you've seen my reviews before, you know this goes. We're going to take a look at the set's packaging. There should be an outer and inner box to this, so we'll view both. We'll open it up, we'll see if there's any instructions or mini-comic or anything inside, and then we'll see the figures and accessories themselves. Check out any, gimmicks, accessories, any of that fun stuff. Naturally, I'm going to be doing a lot of group shots with the Castle Grayskull playset and probably some other figures while we're at it. And then at the end of the video, I'll give my final thoughts. So, like your other PowerCon exclusives, this comes in a kind of plain-looking cardboard box with printed details meant to emulate pencil art. That's why it's got kind of that dark gray coloring to it and very, kind of sketchy looking. So this one looks like it's meant to be kind of like a treasure chest or something. So you get the MOTU logo here, Mysteries of Grayskull, the name of the set. MOTU logo up here. You see like the hinges of this little chest. It's kind of neat. Opens up right there, and I guess that's the way, it's taped to where you open it like a chest too, which is pretty cool. So you just get all these kind of just wooden detailings. Same thing on the back. Right here it says Masters of the Universe presented by, and it's got toy designer Sam Park, packaging, so basically a list of credits. Made in China, so if you're wondering where MOTU toys are made, it's China. So that's all very cool. So I'm going to cut the tape, and we can flip this thing open and check out what's inside. Okay, so unfortunately, this kind of front flap of the box is glued on, so you have to tear it up a good bit to get it to open. And these flaps are also really tight fit, so it doesn't seem to be a very good way to open this box without damaging it, so that's really unfortunate. But we can see here the inner box, which is much different looking than the outer one, which is kind of a change. The other PowerCon exclusives that I've seen so far, or some of them anyway, the outer box just looks like a line art version of the inner box. Here you get something else, which kind of makes sense, right? If you got the whole treasure chest motif going on, you want something, kind of cool looking inside. So right here, we get the MOTU logo. This nice full color print of a bunch of monsters down in the dungeon. All sorts of creepy things. You got skeletons, a werewolf looking guy, slimes, snakes, insectoids, tentacle monsters. Just a little bit more of that motif on the sides. And on the back, we get a nice little illustration of what's inside. So you can see the Spirit of Grayskull. It's a manifestation of Castle Grayskull. The Orlax of Primaria, which is a mysterious creature from the Dwell of Souls. And Explorer Spacesuit, Ancient Cosmic Armor. That's funny. I thought that was supposed to be a robot. It's a spacesuit? Guess I need to brush up on my knowledge a little bit. There's some kind of Guardian robot. Okay. And then right here it says, Beware the Dwell of Souls. Ooh. Now this front flap opens up, just like a chest, so you can see everything inside. Look at that. So you got your Spirit of Grayskull, your Orlax. Oh, look, it comes with like a proper grate and everything that you can put on the floor of Grayskull. That's cool. And you got your spacesuit. What's it called again? The Explorer spacesuit. Yeah. I really thought that was a robot. It's a spacesuit. Isn't that something? Huh. All right, so the presentation is just like the others. Very, very nice. So now I'm going to carefully go ahead and open this up, hopefully without damaging the box, because it's a very, very nice box. And then we'll finally check out what's all inside. All right, now we get to check out our contents. So on the left, we have our Spirit of Grayskull. It's mostly hard plastic. Here's our connection point to attach it to the towers of the castle. And then these side little like tendrils of smoke or spirit energy, whatever, they're just like rubber, clear rubber, wiggle around a lot. I'm not sure why they are. Not really a reason they have to be, but maybe it's for safety or something, make them less likely to break. Kind of just jiggle around a bit. It's interesting. And we get to our Orlax of Primaria, and this is like a 2-piece, or maybe technically 3-piece set here. So you get your dungeon bit, which, you know, just kind of clips on right there to the bottom of the castle. You get your opening door. Now there's 2 ways to attach the Orlax to this. There's this little groove right here, where you can stick them in and have, you know, your door open like it's escaping or breaking out. Or you can actually close this, and this, well, really, any one of these rectangles in the grate are the same size as that recess, so you can just put it up here, too, and have it look like it's coming up through the grate. So that's an option you have, too. It's pretty cool. Then this top part, as we said, is very bendy, and it will maintain a shape to some degree. Not perfectly, but you see I can kind of curl it in on itself, or I could straighten it out. And this is going to come into play when it comes to actually fitting this thing inside the castle, and we'll talk about that when we get to it. But you're not going to be able to have it like fully extended, have it actually fit underneath the floorboards or anything, so just be aware of that. And then, of course, we get our spacesuit. And this is, well, it's a He-Man figure, basically. Designed to look like just an empty spacesuit. So it has mostly new tooling. The parts I can tell that are the same are the shins to boots. These are the pieces used for Trapjaw and Roboto. And then Man-at-Arms as well. And then, even though you can't really see it, the torso piece underneath this armor is just the regular He-Man chest, just the bare, muscular chest, but it's covered up. But what's cool, though, is like this head, like it's not a helmet or anything, this is the head of the figure, and it is physically attached, well, I guess kind of physically attached, to the chest armor. You can see this tube just kind of goes in and out, slide it in there. So it is possible to detach it and remove the head, remove the chest if you really want to. It has this shoulder armor that's part of this chest piece that just kind of moves up a little bit, gives you clearance to move around, which is neat. The biceps, as far as I can tell, are new. They look mostly organic, but they have like this kind of padded part right here. The forearms are new pieces. In fact, this one even has a port on it, which does appear to be a 5mm port. It allows you to attach or detach this little missile piece here. And then the hands, I believe, are also new, because they have kind of like a nice ridge right past the knuckle that makes it look like these are like actual gloved hands. This pelvic area is new, and then I believe the thighs are new as well. So it is mostly new tooling, which is very, very cool for something that's an exclusive. Usually like toy exclusives or, you know, recolors or partials of existing figures. And I mean, he has technically a partial. He does have some familiar tooling, but a lot of him's brand new, and I really appreciate that. I'm really glad they made the extra effort to set this thing apart from any other characters, make it look like its own thing. So yeah, individually, these 3 pieces are very, very cool. Most of them have a lot going on. The Spirit's a little plain. It's meant to be just kind of a static display piece. But I think these are all really cool. Obviously, there's a lot of work that went into making these, so I'm very pleased with this. Now, we should see how these actually interact with the castle. So the first little bit of cross-compatibility we have with Castle Grayskull, we're going to go ahead and view from the outside. We're going to take our Spirit of Grayskull here, and we're going to place it where the flag would normally go, up here in this larger tower. Just kind of set it on there with that same connection point, and there you go. So if you're choosing to display your Grayskull from the outside and you want to recreate that vista from the cartoon with the, you know, smoky skull just kind of emanating up from the tower, you can now do that. And, you know, it's a pretty unintrusive piece. It's just kind of hanging out there. It's just smoke coming out of the top. So it doesn't make the castle look too gaudy, and I would argue looks better than the puny little flag being up there. So I think right here, this is definitely an improvement. Okay, so now we get our interior view of Castle Grayskull. Got our sorceress hanging out, got your accessories just kind of stashed around. So the first thing I'm going to do is reattach our Spirit of Grayskull, and I'm going to have it facing toward us this time, just so we're not looking at the back of the skull. It'd be weird. So So that looks good, hanging out just like that. And for our next bit, we can go ahead and have the spacesuit stand somewhere. So naturally, you would want to put it where it's most likely to stay standing, which are like one of these little attachment points here, these hard points. I think I would like to place him here. Just let him hang out. But, I mean, if you want, you can put him over one of the towers, put him in the elevator. I'm just trying to set it somewhere where he's kind of, I don't know, out of the way-ish. So you can get that. It looks pretty good standing in front of that computer console. And then the last part is your Orlax. Now this one, it doesn't seem to work as well as I would have liked. So first of all, the place you're supposed to set it, I mean, there's no instructions, but, just kind of obvious, is right over the sticker little dungeon here. So it's just kind of replacing and upgrading it. However, you're going to see a real big clearance issue. So first of all, you're going to want to place this in like the open position, like so. And then you're going to want to have it bent down, because if you have it extend all the way up, it's not going to fit. So we just take it, carefully slide it on. I'll let you. There you go. Get it in there and do something along the lines of this. And that's really about the only way you're going to get it to fit inside of there, unfortunately. The execution on this really isn't great, because you can't place it over the grating. It becomes too tall, and even though it bends, you're going to have to put a really sharp bend in it to the point of risking breaking it to get it to be this high up and still go under here. This also kind of messes with the whole trapdoor gimmick. It blocks it, so you're not going to be able to drop anyone down here while this is attached. You could slide it over here if you want to, kind of move it out of the way, but then you're going to have 2 dungeon cells with the Orlax in it. Or, alternatively, you could place it maybe right here. And again, you'll have 2 cells, but I don't think this really works either, because unfortunately, this floor is a little bit lower than this one, right? It slides underneath it, so you're going to have even more of a clearance issue. So it can go there, and it looks okay. Just know that you're very limited with how you can actually display this thing, and it really kind of eliminates a lot of the play value. Now, I guess if you really want to, you could just leave this detached, just slide it away a little bit, and that'll give you plenty of room to move around and all that. I guess that's an option if you want to just pretend that there's like some floor connecting this to the rest if it's moved away. But I don't know. I really don't like the way this actually turns out. And it's funny because the dungeon part here, the monster, the tentacle, that was the part I was most excited about. I thought that was the coolest thing. And then it ends up being probably the most poorly executed bit out of this whole set right here. So, I don't know, that really puts a damper on things, and considering how expensive this was, being a PowerCon exclusive, it really does make it feel maybe not quite worth it. Also, my sorceress is trying to take a dive here. What are you doing? Stand up, lady. No slouching. No slacking. Alright, so, I think here is where we're going to kind of wrap up this review. There's not much more to see past this. So, it's a very cool set. It's a really, really neat thing where it exists purely to make your Castle Grayskull, which is already awesome, even better. I think the Spirit of Grayskull works perfectly. It fits in that high tower very well. It can face forward, backward, whatever. It's great. The spacesuit is very cool too. It's got a lot of extra pieces on it beyond what a normal He-Man figure would. A lot of new sculpting, which is very neat. And then the Orlax is very cool on its own, as just like a standalone display piece where you could have it either coming up through the grate or have the grate open and it's coming out of the bottom. Looks really great. The fact that it can bend around. We're still not really sure why they made it like brown instead of purple, but I guess brown's just the original color for it before the cartoon got a hold of it. I don't know. But this piece here really fails when it comes to actually interacting with the playset, because it doesn't work well. They had somehow maybe made the tentacle smaller or more bendable to where you can maybe like bend it across this way or something. I don't know. I'm really disappointed with how that turned out. So it does make it a little bit hard to recommend given the price of this set. If you're a hardcore MOTU fan and you don't care about maybe losing some functionality in your castle because you just want a really cool display, yeah, it's probably worth it if you were able to, get a hold of this for a decent price. It's a lot of fun. I'd say 2/3 of it are, executed very well. And again, there are ways around this. You can just separate it out a little bit if you really want to. It's your set. You can do whatever you want. But I think this is really cool. It's a little niche. I don't think it's absolutely necessary. It's really there to add more cartoon elements than, like strictly toy-based ones. So it's probably more for fans of the, He-Man cartoon than maybe just the original toy line. So if that is you, and you really do want to cartoonify your Castle Grayskull a bit, yeah, I'd say have at it. I'd say even with, the shortcomings, you'll be happy with this set. However, if, the high cost of entry is a turnoff for you, or you really don't care about, extra little cartoon goodies here and there, you can skip it. The Castle Grayskull set is already amazing on its own. Plus, there are other, sets and toys out there that can interact or even combine with it. So this isn't the only way you can spruce up your castle. So in that case, you can probably just skip it. Of course, that is just how I feel about this set. So now I want to know what you all think of it. Do you think it's worth the high price? And are you satisfied with the way these pieces turned out? Or do you think it's too expensive? Do you not think that what you're getting is worth what you're paying, or if it's just even very good at all? Any and all feedback is always welcome in the comments section. If you enjoyed this review, make sure to toss it a like. Let YouTube know you want to see more stuff like this. If you do want to see more like this, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you always get a heads up when I post something new. I thank you for joining me for this look at the new PowerCon exclusive MOTU Origins Secrets of Castle Grayskull expansion. With all that said, I will see you next time.